Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing? Happy Tuesday. Couple days before Thanksgiving. So, hope everyone's having a great week, shortened trading week. Remember, stocks are closed on Thursday and close early on Friday, as well as the bond market and the future. So, limited trading on Friday. Good morning, Sterling. Sterling with the Zoom and other information in the chat. Thank you so much. Good morning, Patrick. What else do we have going on here? What else? I'm trying to scroll through all of the Sterling information. Good morning, Anissa. Good morning, Royal Palms. Good morning, Connor. Good morning, Jacob. Good turducken, Richard. Hey, I love a good turducken. No turducken this year for me. This year is deep fried turkey. A deep fried turkey. A deep fried turkey. Uh, so it would alternate years. One year's a turducken, the next year's a deep fried turkey. Turducken, deep fried turkey. There's just not enough. I can't do both because it's just myself and my wife. It's my wife's birthday today. So happy birthday to Julie. Uh, she turned the good old 50 today. Maybe I shouldn't say that on a live stream. I got her an AARP card for her birthday, so I'm probably gonna, if you don't see me around tomorrow, well, you know what happened. Other than that, that's where we sit. Oh, I'm gonna be in so much trouble today. All right. Speaking of trouble, we have the Chicago Fed National Activity Index coming in at minus 0.49, lower than forecast. Red Book coming in slightly higher than previous. We got existing home sales coming out at 9 a.m. Central. We got some tips options, some FOMC minutes coming out at 1 p.m. this afternoon. Not expecting much from that, but we ought to be on our toes. The big thing today is NVDA earnings. You didn't just say her name. Yeah, I said her name. Thank you, Anissa. I'll let her know. I said her name. Oh boy. Oh boy. I'm in trouble. Uh, so it's sort of a quiet day, but NVIDIA earnings after. We already see Broadcom taking the shorts. Best Buy also reported and weakening consumer back from Q3. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, Black Friday and Cyber Monday are now so spread out. It's no longer just the day. It's more like I saw stuff like at the beginning of November. It's been like 3 weeks of Black Friday. It is to go Black November. I don't know what we're in now, but things are finally pulling back after hitting some very key levels. But again, if Nvidia is amazing with earnings and everything, you could see sitting right at 500 right now. You could see market continue to pop. If they disappoint, you could see market set up for a drop. We're at cycle tops. Wow, all that rhymed. Groups, we got energy is the strongest thing today, but it's sort of quieter this morning. You're starting to get the rate hike odds of a cut coming into March at this point. That's the biggest shift that I've seen. Doubt that's going to happen. Fear and greed, solidly in greed mode. All right. All right. And age. I did. I said name and age. But I'm older, so. Oh, well. Now, if you see the live stream go dead, then you know what happened. We also have Lowe's was a miss on revenue, disappointment there, and that's dropping. Best Buy and Lowe's were the big things I looked. I didn't even look at Kohl's today, but Sterling had the Zoom better than expected and got up their guidance after the close yesterday. Big thing, Nvidia today. You have HP and Autodesk, but all eyes are on Nvidia. All eyes are on Nvidia. Then tomorrow morning we just have John Deere, and then it goes quiet. So what are we looking at now? We did hit the 87.5. So the 87.5 rule we just eat through it yesterday. 87.5 rule from the highs on July, end of July, to the lows at the end of October. We hit that 87.5 rule. Done. That does not mean this has to stop, but that's where you know, this, if it's going to reverse a lot of the moves, if they're not going to break out to new highs, this is the next key area it reverses in. So, and it's gone on quite a tear. Daily cycles could be rolling over, massively overbought, but the rotation zone's still below. So, I mean, technical damage is back at 44.25 area on a closing basis. That's where it really starts. I mean, there you have some. If we started pulling back all that far, you'd get some people saying the rally's done, but that's where the technical damage really starts kicking in. Until that, let's see what we have here. We don't have any great short-term topping patterns. This, you know, was not really. We have a little support coming in about 45.45. And then you see anywhere back to about 45.35 where we get into 45.35 to 45.05 is very key support in here. There's a lot of support in here. So do keep that in mind. You can see it right here on the 4 hour. So that's where I'll be watching. If it does get down through, the key level I'm watching is this 45.35 on a continued pullback. So I understand she spends a lot of time at the range, so you might be in trouble, young man. She does spend time at the range, so I may be in trouble. I may be in trouble. Yeah, the call for NVDA yesterday was crazy. Thanks for pointing that out. Again, if I suddenly disappear, everyone knows what it might know what happened. The Qs. The Qs, after hitting the 87.5 the other day, coming out, taking out the highs from July, barely, and then we have a little reversal. The major support on the Qs coming in about 15,891 to 15,900. The minor support coming in at 15,982. You can see right here we had those little harmonic projections yesterday. Making this little lopsided double top that's already completed. So that's where we sit right there. You can see coming into this very key support area, 982. If we did drop below that, the next support is about 15,928. 15,928. So if we did break out the next mile, which I'm not really expecting ahead of NVIDIA, but if we did break out after NVIDIA, because remember the futures are open still after they report, you'd be looking at 16,163, 16,204. I didn't do the next key levels. Let me just jump back to the S&P. The S&P, the next major level is 45.88. The Dow, man, it would be nice to have a break this week. I'm slightly burned out. There's been a lot going on. The Dow, if it breaks below 35,100, then I'm looking for about 34,990 to 35 as the next support. Key resistance is still this 35.3, and then above that, 35,414. The Russell. Let's get the bigger picture on the Russell. If we pop up, you have the major resistance still at 1828. 1828. 1813 is still key on a daily closing basis. Where do we close this day? We closed at 1812, and then so far a pullback. So no daily close above the 62.5 just yet. So key support is coming in right about 1796 and 1787. What else do we have going on? The VIX, still no fear. You know, this is an area that we've tended to make at least some short-term bottoms. So I was watching to see if this will continue. We're getting really close to that Thanksgiving. Even if we drop today, we could get a reaction on bounce back up Friday. So, but I'm watching for a more significant low to get put in on the VIX. So I'll have to see if that has anything to do with NVIDIA. The DAX, still not at this major second target. I'm using the 16 16,000 to about 1650 as that key target area, as I've said. We stalled out just in front of it with cycles at the top, but there's not a lot of great setups. I would not recommend forcing anything. I would not recommend forcing anything at this point. This is not in a little double, and it's going to be one of those messed up doubles because of this big move before that. I'll just keep an eye to see if that does trigger, if it turns into a double. Other than that, it's not going to be a head and shoulders with this really lopsided formation. So there's nothing really at the notes. The yield coming down. Again, no close below 62.5 yesterday. We're testing that area today, but look at what we have on the yield. Now this is a little cleaner. A little cleaner. So we do have, let's just see, we do, that's actually better because it's still, makes it a little lower probability because of this big hitch in there, but this is still the reverse move, it's reversing. So I will keep an eye if we get a close above 4.49 roughly on the 10-year yield, because we're against a very key bottoming area against that 62.5 against a harmonic projection, and we formed this mini double. That does not mean it ever has to trigger. If we get that close below the 62.5, we could continue seeing a pullback in yields. However, everything's somewhat setting up for some kind of reversal. Look at the 10-2s, finished the sloppy head and shoulder pattern. So the next key area I'm watching is minus 49.5. Other than that, that finished. So I'm going to be watching to see if this resumes its steepening. The dollar index between the 50 and 62.5, below the 200, but in this key area. So I'm going to be watching this to see if we get a bounce move at least back to the daily rotation zone before forming a stronger bottoming pattern with weekly cycles getting to the bottom. Now, if it closes below 102.04, got to reevaluate that because we could continue to see a pullback. Crude, not anything great. I'm going to see if this pulls back and make us a little inverse head and shoulders here. Other than that, it's nothing yet. Just yet. And this would not be suitable enough. You got to have some symmetry towards shoulders. So like if you look at the 4 hour, you can't have a big left shoulder and a little right shoulder. That would not be enough symmetry. So that's the only thing I'm watching for against the 200 and the declining rotation zone for a possible reversal pattern. Other than that, again, there's not a lot. Gold popping up. Gold in potential mini double top territory with cycles at the top. So we're going to keep an eye on gold, but other than that, still moving back up. So we have gold running up with yields still dropping. So it's going to be very interesting. Remember, I'm long-term bullish now on gold, so any pullbacks, I'm watching for reversal patterns. Hey, George, thank you for the birthday wishes. Natty Gas, I skipped Natty Gas. Natty Gas, that's a little better. It's a little lopsided, but let's just see what that looks like. Hold on. That's going to be too lopsided. It's not going to, I would not trade this because of all this price action as a head and shoulders. Okay, because you don't have any smooth move, it's reversing. And this would be the major section that's reversing because of this big sideways extension. So I'd just be trading this. The only thing, if you're going to try to go from the short side, you have a gap left behind from the contract rollover. So where does that sit? If you didn't do that contract, I'm just seeing what the back adjusted. I'd be still watching with the gap rollover from that back adjusted thing. If it breaks below about 283, there's not a lot of fear in the markets right now. There's a lot of complacency too. The yen hit the next target on this horrible double, but now finally getting close to the bottom of the rotation zone. So I'm going to be watching for a potential bounce play in the yen with a potential bounce play in the dollar. The euro, no close above the 62.5 yet, running right against this. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Breaking above this little minor support range, little minor resistance, key support now back at 108.80 roughly. The pound invalidated the double, never triggered. Next key area 125.90 roughly. The spiders finished the 87.5 rule yesterday. So key support coming in at 450.36. Other than that, you have some minor support coming in about 451.60. The key resistance, the key thing would still be a gap fill left behind from August, 1st of August to be exact, at 456.48. But I will be watching for a more significant potential topping pattern up here between the end of July highs and this 87.5 level we went through yesterday. The Qs, we finished the 87.5 rule, and that's the 87.5 rule from the highs of November in 21 to the lows in October of 22. So that rule is completed. So that's where we sit with that. What does it look like here in the shorter term? Next key area is 393.68. The key support in the short term coming in right around 387.25. So that's where that sits. I'm just looking. See if there's any. It doesn't look like there's any other major gaps. So I'd be using the harmonics 393.68, 399.39. All right. Let's see what else. NVDA. Since we're looking at NVIDIA, the double top is no longer, I should say potential double top because it did not ever trigger. Went through the highs of the August 24th. If it does pop up, next key levels are 516 and 530. On any drop, a very key support level is about 470. And then we're looking, the critical line in the sand is 435 area. Tesla still caught, still 225, roughly 240. Again, we're trading 235. Other than that, remember, if we do break below the 17th low, last Friday's low, you still have a gap to potentially fill down to 237.41. Let's see what else. XOP has a confirmed weekly double top and a daily potential double bottom. I like these setups because you have to trade regardless of the direction of the stock trades. Just have to wait on the trigger. Very good. See, that's why you can't get married to anything. You just trade the patterns. So that is completely valid against the 200. Oops. If I could draw it in the right area, but that's completely valid, and it is. Did it trade below here? Let's take a look at the bigger. Yes, it did. Sterling completely correct with everything. Sterling, look at that. By the way, really focus on this second target on this one, not the third target on the weekly. But there is a potential trade either way in XOP. Neither have triggered yet. The weekly has confirmed but not triggered. That's why you wait for trigger. So, very nice analysis. Sterling. TradingView has a Black Friday deal. Yes, it does. It has a very decent an excellent Black Friday deal, especially if you're on the top tier. It's like 70% off. So this is really worth locking in if you're going to keep using TradingView and follow along with this channel. So that is an excellent, excellent deal. I don't even know if it's listed here. They should put it back up here, but I wonder, will it show it? No. Oh, well. It is an excellent deal. And unless you use my link to sign up, I don't get anything really from them, but you know what, I like this product to use for overall analysis for the live stream. So that's where we sit right now. Let's just peek back at the S&P. Again, don't do silly today. Don't do silly this week. It's been on a great run from my perspective back from all the percent beat buys. It's in solid trailing mode. We finally completed a bunch of key areas. Yeah, we could pop up again. We could even break out, continue to break out, but I'm getting into cautious mode with all these cycles getting to the top in this massively overbought condition, and we're a pretty far stretch. When you get this stretched from the 20, you tend to at least pause, if not revert. So you have to trade price action still. You don't, from my perspective, you don't front run it, but a lot of things are setting up for a potential, at least a shorter term top coming in. I don't have much. I don't really follow like a lot of things. XSD. I don't follow a lot of what he's doing. I don't follow a lot of what a lot of people are doing. I mean, we can just look at, again, what are my thoughts on it? I think unless NVIDIA blows out, it will roll over. And it's in that key rollover zone. But I know what, from my perspective, if I were to be looking at any short, then, I know where my stop would be, 207.51 on a closing basis. Because you get above there, and it would not be good probability wise. Other than that, it's entered the key rollover zone. So, still it made a lower low. Unless you really blow something out with NVIDIA, it's probably going to make a lower high and then a bigger rollover in the longer term. I think the semi-space has got way too overheated. Way too overheated. Everything's priced for perfection. What is NVIDIA's PE going into? 119. I mean, this thing is priced to absolute insanity. And as I told you when I was at Costco the other day, one of the people I chat there sometimes looked on her phone and said, "What do you think about NVIDIA? Everybody's telling me to buy it." So, no. When everybody's saying buy a stock after this, it's this interesting enough. It just eked out a 5-wave topping area. That does not mean this has to be the top, but we're at a 5-wave topping area. All right, so you get NVIDIA, which has been leading a lot of this XSD rally, and you have other stuff already rolling over. I don't have a problem with this short. I know, though, where a stop would be from my perspective, because things don't have to end. Even when they're overdone, they can keep going. With that, I shall talk to everyone tomorrow. Have a wonderful, wonderful trading day. Bye for now.